Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to The Main Thing. This is your new Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Hello and welcome to your Wisdom Podcast. I'm Skip Lineberg, and I'll be your host today, coming to you as always from Parkwood Studios right here in Almost Heaven, West Virginia. I'm so excited for you to meet today's guest. He's a founder, author, and a visionary community leader who just exudes kindness. When you listen to this episode, you'll come away with tips and techniques for mastering your mind and ordering your day. Also, advice and tips on how to build a journaling practice and what that can do for you and your life. Powerful insights about a mental habit that might be blocking you from your goals and dreams. Encouragement and perspectives on pursuing your big idea. And of course, as always, you will discover the main thing Dr. Brad Lane has learned in his lifetime so far. You can get a transcript of today's wisdom conversation and just a ton of additional wisdom resources when you hop on over to our website, themainthingpodcast.com. Also, as you listen, this message, these wisdom lessons might be just for you. It might be exactly what you're looking for, or it could be someone else. So begin thinking about who you will share this episode with. Now, here's a bit more about our wise guest. Dr. Brad Lane is a Wyoming County native from Mullins, West Virginia, and the proud son of a coal miner. He earned undergraduate degrees from Concord University and his doctor of optometry from the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. Now, today, Brad is a business and community leader who works as co-owner and operator of Appalachian Eye Care. He's also a published author with his newest book, which will be his second, titled Appalachian Sun, set for release in March 2026. Brad is deeply committed to his community, serving as vice chairman of the Concord University Board of Governors and supporting multiple scholarships and charities. In his free time, Brad enjoys traveling, sports, golf, country music, and cheering on his beloved Philadelphia Eagles. Brad joins us today from his home in Princeton, West Virginia. Step up into the exam chair and settle in. Over the next 30 minutes, you will discover why Brad Lane is one of the wisest people I know. Brad Lane, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast. It's so great to be on with you this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Skip. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, we are in a habit here of spending Fridays together.
We sure are.
Folks, I'm pulling back the curtain here for a little humorous backstory. We first attempted to record on Friday a week ago, which was Friday the 13th. We even talked about, are we superstitious or not? And we were, confident and bold. Oh, we're not superstitious. What could possibly happen? And I guess we tempted fate, because here we are doing a necessary do-over and re-recording. We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah. I should have said I was superstitious and had my rabbit's foot off to the side here, I guess. But
yeah. Right on. Brad, I wanted to just start with how we're connected. That's one of the things that we try to take care of and help our audience understand who's talking to who and how do these two fellows know one another. Would you like to kind of start that story, and I'll pop in with a little color commentary along the way?
Absolutely. Sounds good. Yeah. So I guess it was September of 2024. I had, I run a business and I had been fairly stressed. And I had a good friend recommend that I go to a retreat, a mindfulness retreat that was focused on men. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this. And then one night I was pretty stressed out and thought, well, I'm going to go, okay, let me really look at this. So I booked it as soon as I could without, so I couldn't talk myself out of it.
I get it.
It's like, let me go ahead and do this. So I head up to Randolph County in September and pull into the parking lot there, or the driveway. And I think I met you first. You were the first person I ran into,
Oh,
and
awesome.
it was a great retreat. It was, four other fellows there with. It was hosted by Wonder and Grow, which is Kate Reed and Valerie Hart, just two great individuals who work
A couple of gems for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They work tirelessly to help people face life, you know, and it was wonderful. We had a great weekend. We threw axes. That was great. We had some really good food, and then we really dove into some mindfulness techniques and experiences, exercises, and you led our journaling exercise, and I had
Yeah,
never journaled
journaling.
before, and that's
Yeah.
how I felt like we really connected there.
Yeah. Gosh, the folks that you mentioned, Kate Reed has been on the podcast as a guest. Valerie Hart, her partner with Wonder and Grow, has come on to share her wisdom. And then at the retreat was Dr. David Clayman, who is he's one of my mentors and
Yeah,
one of my dearest friends. And so I got to share that experience with you and him. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the person that gave you the nudge to go ahead and sign up for this retreat, Brad, was one Veronica Lewis.
that is true. That is true. I'm not sure it was a nudge. I think it was more of a push,
A mandate.
sort
You
of.
will
Yeah,
do this.
but I'm grateful for it. It was great. Yeah,
Yeah, and Veronica was our most listened to episode of 2024. She came on and shared her wisdom, I think, to start off that year. She really lit up the wisdom podcast for us that year
she's
and led
great.
it off in a strong fashion. So blessed to know all of you fine folks, and that's a great company of people who I still keep in fairly close touch with.
Yes, absolutely.
Brad, I want to talk a little bit about your work. You are an optometrist and eye doctor, and I just wanted to hear a little bit about your journey toward that profession and kind of what started it. And I know there's some twists and turns along the way, and I'd love to hear about those if you would be inclined to share with us.
Sure, absolutely. I went to undergrad at Concord University. It was Concord College back then, back in the day,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to major in psychology, sociology, and I was working a lot with my youth group at church, and I wanted to help those kids out. There was um, a lot of problems that those kids were facing, so I really wanted to be able to just help them out. And then so I started through those programs, and actually completed both the psychology and sociology. And I figured out that I was taking their problems home with me, and since I would not make a very good professional. I remember once I said, after I graduated, and I was trying to figure out exactly how it was going to go about getting a job. I told someone, I said, these people need professional help. And they said, well, that's you. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if I can do this. So I did a little pivot and decided, I still want to help people, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. So I started to shadow different medical professionals, and I shadowed dentistry and pharmacy and primary care. But I went to the optometrist and I asked if I could shadow him. And that day, there was no mistaking. In my mind, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh wow,
Yeah, the patients that he saw that day, the way he helped them was tremendous, and it lit a fire in me, a passion.
that's awesome. So the common thread there was that you're this desire for you to serve and help others,
Absolutely, absolutely.
the caring for, whether
Yeah,
that was going to be their brain or their teeth or their eyes. In some way, shape, or fashion, you were going to be providing care to others.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, all my life, someone's taken care of me, and I feel like it's just a way to give back. You know,
That's awesome. Part of the great commandment, right?
it is. Yes, sir.
Loving on our neighbors.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
What do you love most about it today? Think back over a couple days. What were some things that just lit you up with joy and gratification? You're like, ah, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. Sometimes we see patients that aren't at their best.
Hmm.
most people, I think, when they go to the optometrist, they're going for glasses and contacts to see better. But oftentimes we find things that are on our exam that might not be expected when you go to the optometrist, but they can be life threatening issues. So, actually, just this week, unfortunately, did an exam on a lady, and she had some symptoms that I immediately thought, oh goodness, this isn't necessarily just a vision symptom. I'm afraid she has multiple sclerosis. Um,
Mm,
MS. So we went through the proper channels, got some imaging, some referrals, and we're pretty confident she has MS. She didn't know that. She just thought it was a visual symptom
yeah.
of needing new glasses.
Oh,
So that is a horrible thing to have to tell someone.
yeah.
But I'm glad that she came in. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to help her and find this out now so that we can slow the progression. She can work with a neurologist and slow the progression.
Right on.
So
How much
yeah,
longer might it have gone undetected?
it could have been years. It could
Right.
have been years.
Right.
Yeah. Just depending on her willingness to come on in, you know.
Mhm.
But and then there's other times that you have. Luckily, I I have some elderly patients. Oh, I should not say that in case they listen to this. They're going. Shouldn't call them elderly, but I have some ladies that they've taken me under their wing, I guess you could say, and they make me dinner once a week
My
and bring it to
gosh.
my office. That makes my belly very happy. But it's those relationships
Yeah.
that the one lady, she trusts me to give her a great eye exam and my diagnosis and to do the right thing for her. And then these others, they feel close enough to me that they adopt me as almost as their son or their grandson.
Yeah.
And it's those relationships that make it all worth it.
You are beloved.
I hope so. I love those little ladies. They were so cute.
Tell us a little bit about your vision for branching out into other places in West Virginia, because I know there's more than just a dollar behind the motive there.
Absolutely, yeah. When we started, I should mention that that fellow that optometrist that I shadowed, I eventually became business partners.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
You wanna give him a little shout out here?
yeah, Dr. Chris Hansen.
Okay.
He let me shadow some little dumb college kid came in and said, "Hey, can I hang out a little bit?" And he said, "I guess." And then he employed me that summer,
Yeah.
and then that next school year, because I had to re-enroll and get a biology degree, a pre-professional biology degree.
Okay.
So while I was doing that, he let me work for him. And then once I went to optometry school, I always wanted to come back and practice with him. You want to talk about someone who's selfless, just a good-hearted individual that cares about people. It's
Yeah.
Dr. Hansen, it's Chris Hansen. And so once I came back, graduated and came back, went into partnership, or I joined his practice, I should say.
Mhm.
At the time, it was very, very small practice, 2 employees, and we sat down and have a vision. We created our own little vision board and set goals. So, well, we're going to do this the right way, and it's not about what I call herding cattle. 1, 2, 3, 4, get the patient out the door. That's not
Right.
what we do. Patients are going to come in, they're going to have a great experience. We're going to love them. We're going to do what's right for them.
Mhm.
And when you do that, success happens. And so that's what we've done. As someone new joins the practice, whether it be a new doctor or a new staff member, we instill that in them. That is our culture. That's what we
Yeah.
want. From that, we've grown to, well, we're at 3 locations now, looking at a 4th,
Mhm.
but we're up to 30 employees and 6 doctors and provide care in Princeton, West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia, and then Giles County, Virginia.
Okay.
And it's great to be part of those communities. They're just incredible people. So
When you guys go into a community, you're not just opening up a new market and a new base of patients. I see you guys going in with philanthropy and charity and volunteer participation, and I see you guys having a community impact approach to what you do. Is that a fair statement?
that is when we go in, we want to be part of the community.
Yeah, that comes
And
through. I mean, I see that.
yeah, I live in Princeton. One of our new business partners, Dr. Mackenzie Van Dyke, she lives in Beckley,
Mhm.
and Dr. Hanson lives down in Giles County, Virginia. We really like to get into schools involved with sports and clubs at the local high schools, middle schools.
Awesome.
We really enjoy that. We do have a couple of charities that are near and dear to our hearts. One is the Jonathan Powell Hope Foundation, and we've hosted a golf tournament for them. Goodness, I think it's like 17 years now. But it's
That's
a local
awesome.
charity that helps families with the child battling cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. And those folks have done some good work. We've just helped out a little bit.
Yeah. I see what you guys share on social with your community impact. Just keep up the great work, and thank you for doing what you do and the way you do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Brad, one thing we have in common, in addition to our mutual friends and a love of wisdom and journaling, we're both published authors.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Much to your credit, I might add.
Oh gosh. I have a copy of your book. I'm going to just grab it for a second, and we talk a little bit about it. That's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hang on. So here we have Bradley Lane,
That's me.
The Professional's Daily Balance Journal, and you have written a wonderful tool that I use periodically. Dirty little secret: I have 3 journals that I use, and they're all like for slightly different purposes. But this book gives the reader, the owner, a prompt every day of the year for 365 days. What that does for me is on a day where I'm kind of like, man, not sure I have anything on my mind or on my heart that I want to journal about today. I'll open up this journal, and there's a prompt on the top of that day that gets you started, and it just gives you something to respond to. Let's see, today we have February 20th. The prompt for today is, what does the next step mean to you in your personal growth? Reflect on one area where progress feels both challenging and exciting. That's a cool prompt because
Yeah.
now our brain's turning. It's in motion now instead of being kind of locked and
Mhm.
frozen on uncertainty or confusion. Now I'm focused and the wheels are turning. So that's the way that works.
Thank you. Whenever you were teaching us the journaling process of sorts during that retreat, I had never journaled before.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. And so you gave us some prompts, and I really enjoyed that. When I go home, I now have this empty notebook, and I'm like, well, where's my prompt? Where's Skip? It might be annoying if I called you every day or text you every day and asked for a prompt, and I'm not sure. So I
I'd
thought,
be
well,
honored.
I'm gonna write my own. I'm gonna make my own prompts and just
Hmm.
let it be. Let the Lord guide me, and I'm gonna make it, and for a month out. And then I thought, well, this is handy, but there's other things that go into this, like some physical movement that helps your well being, and go
Right,
out for a
right.
jog and stretching and things of that sort, yoga. And then I'm like, well, there's some reminders I should put in here of it's time to update my vaccinations. It's time to prepare for end of the year taxes. So I
Hmm.
need I need to talk to my accountant. And so I started putting all that stuff into a book. And I remember I emailed you and asked for some ideas for some prompts.
Yeah,
And you said, well, let's hop on a call and see if what you got. And we did.
right.
You said, you should try to publish this. This is pretty good. And
Hmm.
I thought, I'm not so sure about that now. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I think I will. And
Mm.
so much credit to you. It's published, and I appreciate that.
Well, definitely a partnership effort, as most things are
Yeah.
in life. But I'm so proud of you, and so delighted to use that journal. About journaling, you've been doing it for a couple years now, and if you just share with me and the audience what you get out of it. How does it affect your day? How does it enrich your life? Why do you keep doing it?
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it now for about 2.5 years, I guess. And really, if I start at the beginning of the day and I journal early in the morning, it sets my intention for the rest of the day.
Hmm.
Um, I like to sit down every once in a while. I like to sit down and write out what my day is going to be like. I'm
Yeah.
forecasting the rest of my day, and I'm planning in my mind how it's going to go. And daggone it, you know what? A lot of times that's how it happens.
Funny how that works.
It is. It is. And if I prepare for my day to be a good day, it's usually a good day. Now, there's things that creep in that I might not plan for, but that's okay. I'm prepared. I'm mentally prepared for any obstacles. And then at night when I journal, to me, that's a great opportunity to get all the junk that's in my head between these two ears out on a piece of paper, and it just free flows. I
Mm.
think of it like I don't know about you, Skip, but in my in my kitchen I have a drawer that I call it the junk drawer, and it has soy sauce packets and chopsticks and menus and probably some
some
matches.
random some random parking token.
Yeah, it's just rando stuff stuck in that drawer, and
Keys
sometimes
that we have no clue what they're for. Spare
exactly, but
keys.
you have to keep them, right? Because just in
Right.
case, just in case.
Right.
And so every so often that drawer needs cleaned out. And
Yes.
the space between my ears is the same way. Through the day, it gets cluttered with stuff that I don't need to hang on to.
Yeah.
And so it's much like going over to the trash can and just hitting the side of my head and letting all that gunk fall out. Well, I put it all on the paper,
Yeah.
and then I can sleep better that night.
Yeah. I imagine that's very freeing and clears it out and makes space for peace to come in, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. A
Yeah.
lot of times too, I'll notice that I'm writing and about a worry or a concern, and I feel like I'm halfway through a sentence, and the Lord says, "Well, Brad, you don't have to carry this. I can carry it for you."
Yeah.
You know, and it's when I
Yeah.
take that time to stop, be still, and just write that I feel like I connect more with God.
Yeah. And in my morning, I typically journal in the mornings. And when I get into a good flow, shortly after I start at some point, have that same experience where I feel like the Holy Spirit is guiding what's coming out of that pen onto that page. Really
Absolutely.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said something that stuck with me in that about ordering your day and your beginning of the day journaling that you do.
Mhm.
Going back to that, you set up for, I'm going to have a great day and here's how. That's kind of like that approach. Here's what's going to make today great.
Yes.
And boy, that's powerful.
It's crazy, but I take 15 seconds to clear my mind, and sometimes that 15 seconds feels like an eternity, but I clear my mind, I just sit and I think, and then I start to write, "What's my day gonna look like today?" Because you know what? When you wake up when I wake up, I have a choice of what kind of day I'm gonna have. I can plan in my mind, and I already have, an idea in my mind what the day is gonna be like. I mean, there's been plenty of times I wake up and I thought, "Oh, geez, today's gonna be terrible. It's Monday," or I have the option to say, "It's Monday. This is gonna be a good day," and I just start to write, and I think, I'm gonna get to see my patients. I want to get to see my staff. I want to get to experience this. I go ahead and plan out those things that make each day incredible. And a lot of that is by expressing gratitude.
Yeah.
I am thankful that I have patients
Uh-huh.
that trust me. I'm thankful that I have a staff that does a tremendous job. I'm thankful I have a business partner who listens to my crazy ideas sometimes, and a lot of times just kind of pats me on the head and says, "That's a good idea." He's a great friend. I'm grateful that for my family. And when you sit down and you start to write those things out and how you're going to experience each one of those things, the birds that's singing, the fact that the days are longer now,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
thank goodness for that. It's tough to have a difficult day.
Thank you. That's well said. This is a role play.
Mhm.
You are you, someone who is passionate about journaling and has seen the impact of it. And I'm going to be the listener and share with you my objections. So here we go. Brad, I hear what you say about journaling. It sounds great, but I'm just too busy.
You know, I understand that completely. Doesn't take that much time. It really doesn't. You don't need an hour. And you know what? It doesn't even need to be words that you write on a piece of paper. If you want to doodle, if you want to draw what's on your mind, that's great. If you want to collect pictures and put them in a collage on your phone, I consider that truly journaling. It's not about a dear diary necessarily. It's about expanding on your emotions and really taking 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all. Just get some of those thoughts in your head and get them out there.
I love it. Here's another one. Ready for number two?
Okay.
Brad, I hear you about journaling, but man, I'm just afraid to confront all the junk and the messy stuff that's inside of my own thoughts. I don't want to see it on paper.
I feel the same way, the exact same way. Actually, I don't go back and look at my journals. But you know what? Those things are going to come out sometime or another. They really are. W- We're going to all face those things that we might not like. So I would say control them.
Hun-
Take the 5 minutes to control that and put it on that paper And you know what? If you don't like it and you don't want to keep it and you don't want anybody else to see it, wad it up, rip it up, burn it, get rid of it. You know, you don't have to hang on to it. You know what? That's kind of a practice in itself. Is it's a releasing that, right? You take it, you put it on paper, trash it, destroy it, and release it. Let it go.
Cool. I think that hits it. Thank you. Brad, it's been a great discussion. And that brings us to the pivotal moment in the show where I'm going to ask you that question that I've asked each and every guest, 141 that have come before you. Dr. Brad Lane, what's the main thing that you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my lifetime so far is that I find what I'm looking for.
Wow. You find what you're looking for.
Mhm.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're in defiance to U2 and Bono right there, who says he still hasn't found what he's looking for.
You
I'm just
probably should
I'm
have
just
looked harder.
playing. Tell him to look harder.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Brad, would you reveal all the nuance and meaning that's loaded in that concise, wonderful statement? We find what we're looking for.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's actually a neurological reasoning behind this. So
Okay.
there's this thing called the reticular activating system, and it's part of your brain. Actually, it's part of your brain stem, and it's a collection of neurons that basically filters out or filters in what it wants to, what you want to focus on, what you want to give your attention to. And it lights up and your brain becomes aroused and aware of these things that are important to you. So when I learned that, I immediately thought of uh, family vacations with my dad.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
my dad was a coal miner, and he, I don't know if you remember Skip. I don't know if it's still this way or not, but miners' vacation was 1 week when they just closed the mine down and everyone went on vacation at the same time.
The whole industry shuts down at once. It's all synchronized
Yes,
for very important industry reasons back then.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, all these folks are going to the beach, Myrtle Beach, right? Well, not my dad. You know, he
So
says,
did we. My dad wasn't a coal miner, but boy, we went there too.
"Did you?" Well, we didn't. My dad said two things. He said, um, "I see those guys all the time. I don't want to go to the beach and see them again.
Right.
And I make my money in West Virginia. I'm going to spend it in West Virginia."
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to support the local economy. But so we went to Moncove Lake over in Monroe County
Mm,
every year. Every
okay.
beautiful place.
It
Monroe
is.
County is beautiful and the people are awesome, but to a 13-year-old boy might not be for the 10th time, might not be the most appealing summer
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but the other thing you should know about my dad is that he was a Ford man.
Okay.
So at some point he owned a Chevy, I guess, and it wasn't great. And he swore them off forever and hated them after that. So we would drive from Wyoming County, where I grew up, little town Herndon, to Moncove Lake, which means you go over Herndon Mountain, over to Princeton, in Mercer County, get on US Route 460 down into Virginia and back up into West Virginia. Well, inevitably, there would be some cars or some vehicles broken down on the side of the road. This is the 80s. And uh, if there happened to be a Chevy on the side of the road, he would point it out. I mean, real quick, like, "Hey, you see that Chevy? I told you they're no good. I told you they're no good." And I'm thinking, Dad, there were two Fords back there, but the truth is, he didn't see them. I mean,
Wow.
he really didn't see them because that's not what he was looking for.
Mhm.
He was looking for the things that supported his bias, so confirmation bias, you could say.
Mm. Yeah.
When I learned about the reticular activation system, and then that, I thought, I'm going to be intentional about what I look for and how I
Yeah.
let it dictate my life and my day.
Yeah. And give us a couple examples. I know you have, applications or examples of, something that you've done in recent days where that's come into play and guided your approach to something.
Absolutely. Okay, the weather lately, I don't know. It's been terrible, just to be honest. I mean, it's been horrible. And I try to be positive about most everything, but this weather's been really, really rough for me.
And by the way, just for background for our audience, February in West Virginia, there's not much sunshine. The beautiful mountains and trees are bare or gray, brown. Everything's kind of muddy. Our beauty is muted and dampened extremely in February in West Virginia.
And it's been cold, my friend. It
It
has
sure
been, I mean, bone chilling cold.
given that as our baseline.
Yes, it's been rough. So, and honestly, I was getting a little down about that. I woke up and I thought, okay, the days are short. There's not enough sunshine. So I changed my perspective and I said, all right, when I journal, I usually journal before I go to sleep, like I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
I want to journal when the sun goes down.
Okay.
Well, that week, each day I was journaling a little bit later and I realized, hey, the days are getting longer. Summer is coming.
Mhm.
I just take that perspective and I started to look for the 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute longer days. And it changed my outlook on the week. Like, Monday, I'm going to journal at this time, but Friday, I want to gain 10 more minutes of sunlight and I want to journal then. And it was
Great
just
ex
a reminder of the days are getting longer, things are going to start to bloom soon, and the weather is starting to warm up a little bit. So I just try to
great
change my perspective of that.
great example, great illustration. Brad, you're reminding me of, something that I've experienced and have been working through this past year. One of my guests back, in the spring of last year, Pia Lister from, Copenhagen. We had a great podcast, wisdom conversation on air. Afterwards, we were just wrapping up and shutting down and just having a little conversation, and, she's like, "Well, Skip, how come you don't do video with your podcast? A lot of people would enjoy that." And I'm like, I don't like the way I look on camera. I don't know how to do video editing." And she really like Veronica did to you
Mhm.
with that nudge. She's like, "Skip, I know you can do it. All those reasons that you've got can be overcome. And I'm challenging you right now." And she's like, I'm gonna follow up with you. I'm gonna hold you accountable, and I want you to promise that you're gonna start doing video with your podcast. And I begrudgingly said, "Okay," because I wanted to, but I had objections. I had things holding me
Reservations.
back. Yeah. And so that nudge helped me get over the edge. But the only way I could do it, Brad, the only way was to say, let's think about how much better I'm going to be 6 months from now. So I allow
Absolutely.
myself, just the grace to learn and get better incrementally, like the day's getting a little more daylight each day. And so
Absolutely.
that 6 month point came in December, and it is easier. And I like to think that it is getting a little better. So yeah, that was just an interesting growth moment,
Yeah. Absolutely.
looking out to the future instead of seeing my present struggles
Right.
and weaknesses and limitations.
Yeah. Honestly, the only way we grow is through by failure. You have to fail
Yeah,
first before
yeah.
I think about, I tell my staff this. I think about a kid, a toddler, when they're learning to walk or even feed themselves.
Hmm.
They fail over and over. Spaghetti's on their head, and they fall on their face multiple times. And at no point does that kid say, well, I guess this eating thing's just not for me, or this whole walking thing's just not for
Yeah.
me. I'm going to give up. I'm like, and if a 2-year-old has that kind of mentality, here I am, a grown man, and I let all these negative things in my mind, or sometimes I let these negative things in my mind that would say, well, Brad, give up, give up. And then I really, honestly, I think back and I'm like, well, it's a good thing I didn't give up because stop eating or ride, everybody says riding a bike, but I take it back a little bit farther. I'm like, you know, don't have spaghetti on my head anymore.
Yeah.
So,
How can a listener or a viewer take your main thing and apply it right now, today, or tomorrow? What's an action step they can take?
just take a moment, slow down. Life is crazy busy for most everyone. And basically just ask yourself, what do I want out of today? What do I want out of this life? And how am I going to get there? Is the
Yeah.
first step, I do believe. And realize that listening to the negative comments or the negative thoughts that flow through your mind is not the way to get there. So, what are the positive things? What would you tell your child? Would you tell your kid, you know what? You had a great performance. that you messed up. You had a great dance recital, but you messed up on whatever step, or a band concert was great, but I heard your reed squeak in your
Mm.
clarinet. No, you would never do that.
You wouldn't.
So if you wouldn't do that to your kid, why would you do that to yourself? Whenever your brain tells you something that's horrible, stop and realize that that's not really you talking. That's that negative voice, but that's not the real Skip. That's not the real Brad. And move forward. Take the lesson, leave the baggage.
There you go. Yeah. I'd like to share if this makes sense to you to kind of close out with a practice that we both learned from some folks at Wonder and Grow.
Hmm.
And I think it's relevant here. And I think it builds on your main thing. Your main thing was we find what we're looking for. And I'm pretty sure that we both participated in a practice or learned a practice called Flip It Real Good.
Yep, absolutely. It's okay.
So the exercise goes like this. And if you're listening, you can do it right now. You take a piece of paper lengthwise, portrait orientation, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, you're going to make a list in a second. I'm going to ask you to think about over the next 60 days what you want your life to be like, the things that you don't want to happen over the next 60 days.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I don't want to spend too much money. It could go like that. I don't want to gain more weight. I don't know what that is for you, but you make a list until you run out of things on the left side. And then, Brad, what do we do
We flip it good. So we state it in the positive, what we do want. Okay.
in that right column?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
One for one.
Yeah.
One for one. Let's take one of mine. I don't want to gain more weight.
I don't either, but yeah.
So we
That's a
would
biggie, isn't it, brother? Uh, I would write something along the lines of, I, I want to maintain a healthy weight. That's a super simple way of flipping it good. I want to maintain a healthy weight.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to expand on that and say, I want to maintain a healthy weight that encourages or leads to lower cholesterol or whatever that may be. But we could keep it real simple and say, I want to maintain a healthy weight.
Yeah. I don't want to get into petty arguments with my in-laws.
I want to have a wonderful relationship with my in laws, harmonious, peaceful, productive relationship.
And on and on.
Yeah.
And then they even had us take a highlighter. So no, first a red pen, circle the operative word in the right hand, the things in the right hand column. It might be love, it might be respect, it might be healthy, and then highlight 5 of those that we want to really prioritize over the next 60 days.
Yes.
And that helped us both to find what we were looking for because it changed our viewpoint.
Change your focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skip, when we do that, when we allow that the negativity to take over, it reminds me of, and I want to put this in there because I'm a nerdy eye doctor. There's this condition called Charles-Bonnet syndrome, and
Hmm.
it's really, whenever I learned about this in optometry school and then actually saw it in practice, it really hit home for me. So take an individual, take a patient, normally elderly, who's had good vision most of their life, but then for some reason, they lose their vision. It could be, glaucoma, macular degeneration, what have you. And when the brain is no longer getting that input, that visual input, it makes up things for that patient to see, quote, see. So they hallucinate. Now, this is not dementia.
Okay.
The person knows that that object is not there. And they'll tell you, I see whatever it is. I know it's not there, but I see it.
Wow.
A lot of times let's say it's a male. In my experience, it's usually been males, but it will be a car that he really enjoyed as a teenager, his dream car. Or a
Mhm.
hunter, their hunters will see that 10-point buck, and that 10-point buck
Okay.
will be in their living room. They'll see it in their
Wow.
living room. When the brain is left to make up, when it's not getting that visual input, it's left to make up whatever it wants to fill that void. And we have a choice. I have a choice. And if I allow that negative part of my brain to just run wild, it will fill it with negativity. It will fill it with despair and lack of confidence and just a lot of hurt and heartache. But if I put before that, before myself, the positives, the lessons, the things to learn, and I'm not talking about like being um, totally ignorant to that bad things happen in this world.
Right.
Not at all. That happens. But when I look for the positive, when I look for those wonderful things that God has surrounded me with, my outlook changes. And that's more and more of those things show up. My brain starts to bring more and more of those things out
Mhm.
instead of the negativity, the 10-point buck, if that's what I'm focused on, if that's my eureka moment, that's what I'll see.
Mhm.
And so I hope to continue to focus on that.
Brad, that's a great place to leave it. I love that principle that you shared with us. I learned something new. Charles Bonnet
Charles
syndrome.
Bonnet syndrome. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us and sharing some of our common growth experiences that we've enjoyed. And it's just been a pleasure. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Skip. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, it's Skip. For a final wrap up, I just want to share a reflection on a couple things that stood out to me today in our conversation with Dr. Brad Lane. Number one, I was struck by how we have the freedom and we have the ownership to change course in life. You heard Brad talking about his initial career path. He stopped going down that path, gave himself permission to change direction, set some goals, went to optometry school, and look where he's going now. In similar fashion, he wrote a book about journaling. He wrote a second book. Brad is very purposeful. Not only big picture things like writing a book or a career, but just how he approaches every single day. Did you hear the careful way that he orders his day, how he begins his day, how he decides what's going to be good for that day and how to make that happen, and even how he ends each day? I'm very, very impressed and inspired by that. Second, I think that Brad just exudes a kindness and a confident humility that's just very inspiring. And last but not least, I love how Brad explained when we have a goal or we have a direction that we're pursuing, it's very, very important for us to lock on to the things that are valuable, appreciable, good, worthy, beautiful, and useful along that path, and to not let our mind get focused on what we're lacking, what the gap is, what's wrong, what are the flaws, what are the weaknesses. And he explained in his own very clear, concise way with science backed theories why our brains work the way they do and how our minds need to be mastered. I hope that these wisdom insights were valuable to you. I can't wait to hear what stood out to you. Share it with me. You'll find links in the podcast and on the website where you can share that kind of feedback. That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Chloe Lineberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons, those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.